Hey guys, thanks so much and welcome to the Game Your Future podcast. I'm Daniel, here to help you guys level up your careers, level up your life so that you can get the impact and the income that you're looking for. And today I have a special guest for you guys. This is Fabiola Gonzalez, and she is a luxury hospitality professional and manager, as well as played some games in her day. And she's going to talk to us a little bit about what she does and kind of her journey. So Fabiola, thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel.
Absolutely. So very curious as far as the luxury hospitality industry and what that means. And I wanted to start as far as helping kind of the gamers understand too. If we could even start with the gaming side, like I think you've had some gaming experience. Tell us a little bit about what games you like,
Mhm.
what games you enjoy, and how long you've been playing.
Well, I've been playing since I was a child. My first computer was the Spectrum, so I was deep down into computers straight away. And the earliest I can remember loving a game was all the LucasArts games from the 90s, Indiana Jones, Day of the Tentacle, Maniac Mansion, all of that. But well, I still play a lot. It's how I manage to, decompress from the stress and daily operations. So it's something that for me is very real, very, very daily.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I love it. I'm also a big fan of the old like point and click adventure games too. That's
Hmm.
so because you remind me of the LucasArts games, like back before it
Hmm.
was more than just Star Wars, right? So, gosh,
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, Day of the Tentacle. I remember Loom
Yes,
and
brilliant.
Full Throttle was a
Oh,
fun
that
one for
one
me.
was amazing. That's probably my first interaction with heavy metal music, and I think that's where also I got my first musical taste. So yeah, looking forward to replaying that one again.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that. And I remember because I was always into like I also got into like anime and like kind of voice actors,
Hmm.
voice acting, just like love hearing, the same kind of people do different roles. And didn't realize for a while that Mark Hamill, Star Wars is in Full Throttle as like like the villain. I was like,
That
what?
that's one of his, yeah, of course, it's brilliant. He's been part of the gaming community for ages, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so cool. So fun to connect on those kind of things. I love the old point and click adventures. So then
Hmm.
so I love how that's kind of influenced even like your thought and your taste in music, right? Was from Full Throttle. I
Hmm.
love that. So switching a little bit gears to the to kind of what you do like professionally, right? The luxury hospitality industry.
Hmm.
So how did you get into that? Like what's kind of the story there as far as, that career path?
Hmm. Well, for me, it was all about the customer service and elevating that customer service. So as soon as I finished uni, I started working in a hotel as an apprentice, and then I just, it just happened. It was the purest form of customer services was there at the desk, and just getting all the human experience there. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, because I know working with people is definitely challenging. It's also it's very good.
Hmm.
It's very rewarding. So being kind of shoved in a hole, and it depends on the person, right? But like, especially the more extroverted people, like you got to be with people, right? So like, as a little bit
Hmm.
more extroverted myself, like I couldn't imagine. Like some of my friends went through like computer science, and I started down a track of computer science
Hmm.
in college, and I was just like, I just can't imagine myself programming right, for hours on end in a day,
Hmm.
just in a cubicle. And so being able to work with people, huge. So is that's kind of where you think you felt as far as like I want to be able to help and I want to be able to work with people. And so what
Hmm.
better than hospitality, right?
100%. Yeah, I felt like I was a sort of an ambassador for my city as well. I love where I'm from. I'm from Madrid, from Spain. I'm currently working in London, but you are that business card of the city in a way. So I love being impersonating that, being that for the point of contact from the traveler to what the city has to offer. But yeah, it's it depends because it really can be a job that is very extroverted, but deep down for me, I'm a very introverted person. I'm not shy. So
Hmm.
it's like I have two personas inside of of me. It's the standard Fabiola, the family Fabiola, where I can just get to do what I want, and then I just put my other suit on and back to work. So yeah,
And that's a
it's a real
fantastic
thing.
skill to have. And that's and I think is very true. And I love to bring up the point of just kind of the gaming persona, right? The gamer identity,
Hmm.
right? Because I know a lot of the times, and we go to work, and maybe you're the same way as far as, we have to also kind of, put on the work suit, sure, but like a lot of that you have to leave kind of the gaming to the side,
Hmm.
right? It's like, talking
Yep.
about gaming at work, you might get some funny looks, right? Because it's not as
Hmm.
commonplace in a workplace environment, right?
Hmm.
And of course, there are some notable exceptions, obviously, in the gaming industry, and there's a few like kind of maybe tech companies that are a little bit more free about that. But the
Hmm.
typical, I'll say, kind of corporate environment or just workplace environment, you don't really have gaming. You don't talk about gaming. So
Yeah, that's true.
so have you
The funny
seen
looks, as you
that in
said.
yourself too? That where it's just like, nope, can't talk about that.
Yeah, when you suddenly say something out loud and it's like whoa, 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 I have to pedal back because they're looking at me like weird. But thankfully, that's one of the things that I found with the newer generation. They are much more welcoming. They're much more open to that. They find that gaming is part of their lives, the same way it's cinema or watching a series on Netflix. So yeah, it's this old generation that keeps on pushing, looking at you like, especially in luxury service, that everybody like suited and booted and they look at you like you don't belong. Sometimes having a community like the gaming community is it it brings something out of yourself and other people can join as well. So it's very inclusive.
Yeah, so it's fantastic that the younger generation is much more welcoming on that. So yes, I have noticed myself the older generation doesn't quite understand or is not as accepting or they don't get it.
Hmm.
So you have to almost tiptoe and walk around it. But
Yeah.
I think the good news is that yes, it is becoming more accepted. But and so as a result of that, I and part of this podcast and part of what I'm trying to promote is kind of the remerging of that identity, right? To say like, well,
Hmm.
you're a gamer if you play games. It doesn't matter where you are. You bring yourself with you.
Yeah,
So why not bring all of you
100%.
with
Yeah.
you, right?
Yes, exactly. It's just using your personality as an asset as well, part of the experience. Of course, if you are more socially awkward, it will take you longer, but there are some skills that you develop with gaming that are very unreal, useful for the field. So yeah,
That's
I encourage people gaming. Yeah.
Yes, and that's exactly right. And so I wanted to jump on that topic that you brought up as far as the gaming skills, skills or the skills that we learn in gaming that we can take with us to the rest of our lives,
Hmm.
right, outside of the gaming. So what are, and maybe I'll say like the top three, but or if there's one that specifically, speaks to you or, stands out. Well, what's kind of the 1 to 3 skills that you see that as a gamer that you have that kind of sets you apart from the rest?
Hmm. Well, for me, it's the creativity, the ability to think on your feet and think outside of the box and come up with a solution, with an alternative, especially in a luxury hospitality that if you cannot deliver a service, you have to offer an alternative that is as good or even better than what the other person is looking for. Being able to know what you have in your inventory and then what actions you have available, and then put it together and say, okay, I'm gonna use the rubber chicken with this in here. So it's really interesting, the creativity and the thinking outside of the box behind it, and I see it constantly with and consistently with other gamers, and it's I think with other people as well, don't get me wrong, but what you can see that if someone plays, if someone is gaming, you will see that as part of their skill. They might not know, but they will have it. They're also very open to new ideas. So when it comes to an idea that you explain step by step, okay, we need this, but if we do this, 1, 2, 3, they will get it. They will not fight it. They are more resilient to change. They have that about adaptability, that flexibility that is really required sometimes when you have a new manager or you have a challenge coming up at work and you don't really know how to handle it. That resilience is real, and it's really interesting as well. And what else I would say? Um, Perhaps that, when you're reading a room, when you're reading someone, it really helps, obviously, when you have your lines of dialogue. And okay, if I say this, I'm gonna piss off this person. If I say this, I'm gonna get on the good side. So it's just picking your lines of dialogue correctly as well.
Hmm.
So for roles like such as mine that are very customer service oriented, that you really have to bring, as I said, your persona. You bring your avatar, and this is your character. These are the skills that your character has, and this is the way to go. But also for the other roles, more technical roles, where you really have to have that dexterity in your hands, it's really important as well.
Yeah, just the even the simple hand-eye coordination, like kind of an obvious one maybe, but it it's just being able to work with your hands. I mean, if you play
Yeah.
with either mouse, keyboard, or a controller, it's like, well, you're using your hands. That's why I was
Hmm.
always fascinated when the DDR games, right? The Dance Dance Revolution came out, where it's like, oh,
Wow.
now it's eye to foot coordination. I was like, that was a
Hmm.
brand new world for me. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
this is a different type of
No,
controller.
definitely.
But
Yeah,
so we
and
mentioned, and
it's
if you wouldn't
really.
mind just repeating it again. So definitely creativity and out of the
Hmm.
box thinking, and I'd say even problem solving, right? Is kind of
Yeah,
all kind of
absolutely.
there together. So creativity, problem solving, and then
Um,
the resilience,
I have
absolutely.
the
And if we had
resilience.
to distill the third
Mhm.
one down into one word, what would you call that one again?
I would say that's it's a trick. It's because it's so broad. But I would definitely say something around the lines of um, early social skills. It's
It's just
picking up
social skills. Yeah.
the best. Yeah, in a way. I mean, obviously, in a video game is safe that if you say the wrong word or the wrong sentence, you can just load the game,
Yeah.
previous save, and I don't piss off this guy on Skyrim. But
Right.
I can try and do. It's a safe world as opposed to the real one. That if you say the wrong thing, not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, early social skills, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, so those kind of intro social skills, absolutely.
Hmm.
And you brought up a very interesting point that I completely agree with, which is in those gamers that have these skills and they may use them, but they don't necessarily recognize or appreciate uh,
Hmm.
these kind of skills that they're using, or they are kind of more down on themselves, thinking that it's like, well, it's not that great because everybody has this. It's like, well, no. What's interesting about the whole idea of like a superpower? Because you
Hmm.
think like superpower, you're like, oh, you can fly and you can do whatever. It's like, but in the real world, superpower is just a set of skills that make you different in certain areas and maybe better in certain areas than other people that have different skills. And in that
Hmm.
way, your superpower as a gamer is problem
Hmm.
solving skills.
Hmm.
And your superpower will not feel like a superpower.
Hmm.
That's the
It
thing.
would be natural for you.
It's
Yeah.
natural. Exactly right. So it's completely natural. So the fact that you're great at problem solving and out of the box thinking, the fact that you're great at, resilience, being able to continue, persevere, who cares if it says game over? I'll just hit continue, right? I'll just
Yeah,
reload.
just think of Dark Souls. I mean, if you keep on trying and trying and trying, eventually you will do it.
Yeah. How many times have you fought like, these kind of hard bosses, especially those that play Dark Souls, and you just get to the point where you're like, I can do this. And it might take you
Hmm.
another 30 tries to do it. And how many people that you see that give up after try two? It's just so
100%.
different. It's so different for gamers that we understand that it's going to take some more work to get there.
Hmm.
And just the thought and what you're saying, I think is perfectly true. It's like how can we just move that ever so slightly into the real world to say like, look, it's the same thing. You're not going to be perfect the first time you try something in a game. You're not going to be the first time
Hmm.
perfect the first time you try something in life. So give
Hmm.
yourself that grace, give yourself that forgiveness to say
Yes.
it's not going to be perfect, but if I keep trying, I'm going to get better.
Absolutely. No, that's 100%. And the giving yourself grace, it's so important, and being kind to ourselves and just not dismiss ourselves or our feelings that I just did this wrong. Okay, I'm worthless. No, not at all. Just keep on trying.
Yes, and it's that, you know, I'll say the reinforcement of it, right? So there's
Hmm.
positive reinforcement and then there's negative reinforcement. And if you keep
Hmm.
stacking, whichever one you stack, whichever one you do more of is going to be the one that wins. So
Hmm.
if you're
Absolutely.
down on yourself, yep.
But that's where you also need a manager that understands that growing process and doesn't treat you like an idiot.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. So I've definitely had several, coaches and mentors in my life, and it's always been in that frame of just kind of a learning experience, right?
Hmm.
It's and I love the phrase, it's you never truly fail.
Hmm.
It's either because it's only a failure if you stop and you quit, right? But even if something doesn't work, you
Yes.
can still learn from
Hmm.
it, right? So so therefore it's either you win or you learn, right? You never truly fail unless you quit.
Hmm. Hmm.
Fantastic. So what is kind of
Hmm.
like
That's
maybe a
right.
story
Yeah.
that you've noticed something that maybe in your own life, whether in hospitality or in games, that you've seen that kind of, failure as a learning experience?
Well, in hospitality, the good thing, also the bad thing, but the good thing is that there are no 2 days the same. So you take a day that, as you say, you might fail, but then the following day, okay, this didn't work yesterday. I'm going to try again today. But one of the things that I found within the community that for me felt more real was in a recruitment process. I was hiring a new receptionist, and something that I just opened my eyes. I was just chatting casually. The interview had finished, and then I asked this person, "What are you going to do the rest of the day? What's your plan?" And then he said, "Oh, I'm gonna go watch the new um, it was a Marvel movie." And I was like, "Oh, do you like Marvel? You like comics?" "Oh, yes, I do." Blah, blah, blah. Then we start talking. And then I said, "Okay, so what's your favorite character?" And then very funnily, this was a guy, and he answered his famous character, his favorite character was Scarlet Witch,
Hmm.
which for me, 10 years ago, a man would have never said that his favorite character was a woman. And I was like, I could have hired this guy, not just for me as a woman understanding, hey, he did this, but the flexibility of his mind, he recognizing the powers this hero had, and then understanding, okay, there are others, and I could relate much more to them, but this one is amazing. She can kick ass, and for me, it was like, whoa, this is the right train of thought.
Yep. Oh, that's really cool. I love that story. Because
He was
sometimes
hired.
yeah, sometimes it's knowing, having that kind of frame of reference, having that kind of thought process, right? Because
Hmm.
there's certain skills, and then I think an amazing and important thing about having a team is having people that you work well together, right?
Hmm.
Not because even if they don't have like the necessary skills, a lot of the skills are teachable, right?
Yes, that's so important. There is a skill and there is will. If there is a will, I cannot really teach you the will. The will, you have it and you have to have it and you have to push yourself. Anything else, you can learn it. It's fine. And you will fail, as you said, but you can keep on trying until you master it. It's like when you have your skill tree in the latest Assassin's Creed and you keep on, it's okay. You don't have enough skill points to buy this specific skill. You get there, it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, the skills you'll get there eventually. And another fun gaming example is so I used to be a raid leader and a guild leader
Hmm.
in some of the MMOs, so especially a particular story in Star Wars: The Old Republic, if you played that one.
Hmm.
And we had a guild where we had a few individuals. There was one individual in particular that was playing like the overpowered class at the time,
Hmm.
and but was not the didn't have the best personality, I'll put it nicely. Uh, But like you brought them because they could do the damage, right? Because they had
Right.
that damage threshold, and it's like, well, because they were playing this class. But then it got to the point where like they were super late to raids all the time, and it's just like eventually we're just like, and we had one individual that was kind of like waiting in the wings, and was just like they wanted to join. They weren't, they were playing a damage class, but it wasn't overpowered. But they were so willing
Hmm.
to learn. They were like dialing in their rotation and like making sure that they could figure out how to do things. And then we
Hmm.
finally like kicked the one guy, and we brought this new guy in and did like almost as much, damage or whatever, maybe just like a little bit less, but we could teach like how to get better at that, but was such a better play session because like this person
Hmm.
was just vibed with us so much better. And we're just like,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of the teaching moment for me to be like, yeah, we'll teach the skills, we'll get you the gear, we'll get you more
Yeah.
powerful. That's not the problem. The problem is, do you even want to hang out with this person and work, and do you work
Yeah.
well?
Yeah, you have to gel, and it's important for you as part of the team, but also as a manager of the team to make sure that you are able to command the room and bring people together to the same goal and just fight for it.
Yes, and I think in gaming, I argue it's actually harder to bring people together in a game because in a game,
Yeah.
people will only be there if they want to,
Yes.
right? Because if they don't want to be there, they'll just peace out. They'll quit. They'll move on to
Hmm.
a different game or join a different guild or whatever. Whereas
Hmm.
usually in work, it's usually like, these are your coworkers. They have to be there. So they have to work with.
Yes,
They might
a
not work
hundred
super well with
percent.
you, but like, and there's ways to improve that, but they have to be there. And that was very interesting when I was leading teams, in my job, that was the same kind of thing where it's like, oh, they have to be here. But then leading a raid, it's like, oh no, they're only here
Hmm.
because they want to play with you. And it's like, oh, this is, yeah. So you have to keep that motivation alive so that they'll keep coming
Hmm.
back, right? Is that what
Yes,
you've noticed in the
totally.
hospitality industry as well?
It is because in London the hospitality industry is so the market is so volatile. You don't want to have this specific job. Don't worry. 2 days later, you interview somewhere else and you got the job. So it's it's very easy for you to lose your team and then all of a sudden find a team like a mushroom. So it's really interesting how you are the manager. They always choose for you to be. They will always choose you, but you have to be there. You are kind, you are supportive, but you have to be there for them when they need you. And yeah, it's amazing the way that it brings them together is the sense of community, especially as I said, London. We are we are all foreigners, right? I'm Spanish. I have people from Hungary. I have people from Iran. So we all have different personalities, different backgrounds, different upbringings, religions. But the one thing that brings us together is work. And if someone needs something, they don't have their family with him. They might not have even lots of friends. So the way they can rely on each other is in the network that we have created at work. So it's much more than that. And that sense of community, the same way that you have with gaming, it's really, you can feel the fuzzy feeling inside of you. I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, that's so good because I completely agree. I think it's that level of camaraderie, that level of
Hmm.
just, yeah, like you said, how they gel together. It's just, I think it's just so important, and being able to be a
Hmm.
part of or even build a team like that is just fantastic. So definitely
Hmm.
super fun. So good.
Hmm. Definitely.
So so I wanted to think. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything, right? So, and by that, I want
Hmm.
to say like, so we talked about kind of the three top skills that you noticed as far as so the problem solving creativity, we have the resilience,
Hmm.
we have the early social skills, and we even talk a little bit about, building your own team and making sure you work well together, all these different things. What is maybe one other thing that you've noticed, whether in gaming or in the hospitality, that we want to make sure we talk about here on this podcast and for this episode to say gamers don't forget this? What would you say?
I think it's really important when we talk about gaming, we usually say, "Oh, if you play certain games, you are not a gamer." Mm. It
Hmm.
it you play, end of the story. And but it is very important for people that only play, for example, FIFA, this type of games, or and there are other people that play online, or other people that are more introverted and they're not so used to speaking with others in public or just gel in a team. I think it's really important to forget those preconceptions that we have, and just they need to understand that you're going to sometimes, perhaps, yep, make yourself a fool in front of everybody, but that's absolutely fine. They're not going to judge you so harshly. They're not going to kick you out of the party. It's fine. But is having that social awareness as well, that social skills that sometimes, especially if they have a lower level of confidence in themselves or lower self-esteem, it can be damaging when they try to join the workforce and they don't seem to find a specific fit. It's just, just keep on trying. It's fine. Just keep yourself up, keep your spirits up. Don't don't be hard on yourself. Just be gracious, and yeah, just keep on trying.
Couldn't have said it better. Yes, just keep trying. It's something that you keep trying in games, so you can keep trying in life. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
So as I would say, as we wind down this particular episode for Game Your Future, wanted to make sure a couple things, and
Mhm.
so I wanted to reiterate for everybody listening, everybody watching again, just some of these amazing skills that you can develop in gaming, and whether and I love your definition. It's just anyone who plays right is a gamer. Let's certain games, certain whatever. It's like no, if you play games, you're a gamer. So I love that, and so. I think you're absolutely right. So I think the top skill that everybody has playing games, regardless of the game you play, is that level of problem solving, right? And that
Mhm.
creativity, that out of the box thinking, because that's really what games are, right? It's just having these different obstacles or different challenges. Yeah, puzzle games, you solve the puzzle, but like you said, like the FIFA, the sports games, it's like how do you basically play the sport digitally and score the
Yeah.
goal? The adventure games, how do you beat the monsters with the sword? Whatever it is, there's some sort of obstacle or challenge, and you have to
Mhm.
overcome it with the tools, the items, the inventory that you have. This is all problem solving.
Mhm.
So I think the actual and very much the top skill. So is that something that you've seen that you've noticed? And yeah, I guess how would you reiterate that too?
Yes, as you said, it is really common. It doesn't show as much because, especially with the most introverted gamers, they don't tend to show it as much. But those skills are there. They just need space and a safe space. Yes, a safe space and some time to flourish and to really show it. So that's why they need to give themselves some grace, but also to their managers to really trust them if they feel they can be trusted, of course. But it's important that they use these skills more and more, and then they will get better at them. And even if they don't have that specific skill, just keep on working on it. The same way you learn to play a guitar, you're not born knowing how to play a guitar. You just keep on trying.
Yep, exactly. You're not born knowing how to play guitar. You're not born
Yeah.
knowing how to play the game. You're not known. You don't have the knowledge at the beginning how to work in a work environment to do those job skills that they ask of you on day one. Like you have to.
Hmm.
There's a reason they call it
Hmm.
on the job training, right? So
Exactly. Yes. And with this clash between generations, I think it's important to reiterate that older generations need to be more patient with the younger ones, but also the younger ones need to be sort of understanding and okay, they've been here for a while. Maybe I should listen to them for this. But again, it's more of an understanding and opening the space as well. For the new generations, don't dismiss them straight away. Don't think that this guy has been just playing computer games in his parents' basement. There is so much more than that. There is a person behind it. There is a real human being in there. and is giving the opportunity for someone to not only join the workforce, but to develop themselves personally and professionally. So it's just embracing that person, that personality as an asset, as I said, in and just making sure they can be the best version of themselves.
Fantastic. So good. And so yeah, that level of understanding, that level of skill that you have, you can develop. You can practice, you can
Hmm.
get better. So absolutely love that. And then so it's the problem solving, it's the resilience, it's the early social skills, it's the team building. If there's so many skills that you have as a gamer, I can't stress it
Hmm.
enough. So Fabiola, thank you so much for this. This has been fantastic. And I do have one final question before we go,
Hmm.
which is, of course, what is your favorite video game?
That's such a difficult question. Video game on itself, like a saga, I absolutely love God of War. I love the old God of War games, but the latest ones were absolutely mind-blowing. But I also love Assassin's Creed. And as I said, the LucasArts games are very much still in my heart. So it's really, really difficult to let them go.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
the old point and click LucasArts. So if you had to pick one, it sounds like the God of War franchise, at least we'll say is the
yeah,
favorite.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of the old man Kratos now that how he has learned to rein it in and yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
focusing on his son now.
And Christopher Judge as the voice actor. So speaking of voice actors too, I love Christopher Judge too.
Yeah,
Fantastic. That's
brilliant.
big
Yeah.
fan of Stargate SG-1, where he's also been a big
Hmm.
so,
Hmm.
awesome. So
Hmm.
great answer for that. I love that answer. So much fun. So gosh, so Fabiola, thank you so much for being here. This has been fantastic. And guys, if you want to learn how to take these skills that you have as gamers and you want to be able to apply them more to your life and you want to get that impact, that income that you're looking for, definitely hit me up, dragonmorexp.com.